Hi there, it's Dale Elena here, and it's been a little while since I've done my last update. You can probably tell I look a little different, which is cool. So I've just had a bit of a break because I've been in New Zealand for a while. I went via Hong Kong to visit a friend, and then home to New Zealand to see my family and friends. The first time I've really seen people physically since I started my transition and came out, even because I've been in the UK for 12 years now, and last time I was in New Zealand was 3 years ago. So that was really nice to go back and see them. But I'll talk about that in a moment. Basically, I have a few things to chat about today. I'll try to make it as brief as I possibly can. First and foremost, 1 year on HRT. So this makes this week, Thursday specifically, but I felt like I'd do this video now because I've got a new haircut and I just came from the salon. It's 1 year HRT this Thursday, so that's a full year on estrogen and 6 months on blocking my testosterone. So because the UK does it slightly differently, it doesn't all start at the same time, so it's a slightly staggered process, but that's fine. I haven't actually had my T blocker this week. It's on Thursday. They're going to jab me on the arse. I went to get one the other day and they didn't have an appointment, so I'll have to wait a couple of days for that, but I'm sure a couple of days won't make too big a difference. So I'm really happy about that. It's amazing to think that when I started HRT, that a year seemed like a long way away, and that all these changes were going to happen, potentially. Hopefully more still to come. And now to have gotten through a year and feel, funnily, actually less feminine in a weird way, partly from, just things I've been going through with my surgery and things, but also perhaps not needing to feel as feminine, and being a little bit more open to being on the non-binary spectrum that we probably all are, and not having to push it quite so hard to be femme. She says, with her fringe and bob haircut, which is my new treat today. 1 year on HRT, that's fantastic. It's like a real triumph to get this far, and I have to affirm that I have never been happier. New hair. It's kind of cool. It's sort of moving around, and I've always wanted sort of a bob and a fringe. It's a funny thing, but I've always looked at that on women and kind of gone, oh, I wish that was my hair. And to go and get my hair cut today and get a fringe cut, which is quite a big moment, is really fantastic. And I left the salon feeling really, really good. I actually got to the salon feeling terrible because I got a spam phone call this morning, spamming that they were telling me they were from Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, and that I was about to be prosecuted for tax evasion, and they were sending the case to the police, and it was quite upsetting because it was quite realistic the way they did it. It was like an automated system, and then you had to call through to another number to talk to a representative, but it was a really patchy line, and I couldn't quite hear what they were saying. And then I was like, how do I know you're from HMRC, and who do you think I am? And they wouldn't say names, they wouldn't say any details, and I was a little bit suspicious, but I was really upset. I was really stressed out because, maybe they had been investigating and falsely thought I had evaded tax, but maybe I wouldn't know about this investigation until it was sort of upon you and you had to get a lawyer or something like that. So I was a bit freaked out. And I got to the salon and I was pretty stressed, and, messaging a friend. My friend Ruth really cleverly said, Google the phone number, and it came up. There's a site you can send the phone number into, and it says what the, who is this, what is related to this phone number, and it immediately came up with thousands of people complaining that it is a fraudulent number, that people have been hassled through it, and it's dangerous, and to avoid it and things. So I immediately just blocked the number and calmed down because I was freaking out. I've always paid my tax on time. I'm pretty reasonably goody two shoes in that respect, so that was a bit of a shock for me. So it was really nice to just know that wasn't something I had to actually worry about, and like I wasn't going to go to a police station or get the cops showing up at my house or something like that. But I imagine they're doing that so that they would try and force you into releasing information about yourself, or even making some sort of payment as a settlement out of court or something like that. It seems incredibly flimsy as far as a way of getting money, but there you go. That's what some people choose to do with their time, and I have absolutely no respect for it. There you go. But so yes, haircut. Bruno at the Not Another Salon was wonderful, and she looked after me, and she did a really good job in the colour too, which is kind of a pinky tone. It'll strip out and go back to blonde pretty quickly, but it's still really fun to do. Okay, so what else happened? My face is mostly healed, I would say, and my head, the scar that runs through the back, you can actually see it with my hair because it's really straight and there's a gap. If I brush it straight down, there's kind of like a line down here where the hair is quite short. It's been shaved, and so it's just growing back, and it makes the hair at the back here kind of pop out. So I have to kind of just push it back just a little bit like this, and then it hides it a bit. But I'm not going to get worried about that. I can't see it for myself in a selfie or the mirror. So like, does it even exist? But really, it's part of the whole process of healing. I can't get too freaked out about things like that. That's like fine. It will grow back and it'll be good when it stops pushing the hair outward. But yeah, I think everything is looking pretty good. I'm very happy with the results now. I have to say, like, it's something that it's taken some time, but funny enough, as I heal, I look more and more like I did before. I don't think it's such an extreme change, even though it does feel like it initially. My chin has still got a bit of healing to do, and it's still a bit of a kind of a slightly uneven shape, and there's still some puffiness underneath here. I still feel like chinny, but I think that will go down. My nose has still got some healing around the scar, but otherwise is great. I really love the lip lift where my lip has come up, and it just means my smile is a bit more open, and I smile a lot more because I really like it. So that's really nice. Yeah, and my forehead is hidden now, but I think that's okay. I think it has changed my face, but if you put a photo next to what I looked like before and what I look like now, they don't actually look that different. But it looks like brother and sister, but really, really closely resembling each other. It's not like it's like, whoa, plastic surgery and, gargantuan, gargoyle, grotesque or something guy. No, they just look just subtly different, and that is what I actually wanted, and that is why they're quite expensive, and they're good because they just do enough to tweak the face, not change the face completely. So that was wonderful. I'm really happy with that. I can feel most of my head now. It's still strange, some of the sensations, and brushing my hair can tug on where the scar is, and that can hurt a little bit, but I'm kind of used to it, and it's all, again, part of the process, so that's fine. So yeah, I just got back from New Zealand. A little bit about that trip. I hadn't gone back to see my parents. It was very important for me to go back and meet and spend time with my parents so they can understand who I am now and see that it wasn't a bad thing, that I was much happier. And I think most people who meet me in real life now can see just how much more comfortable I am in myself and more kind of at ease in general and much more open to chit chat and things like that, whereas I was always a bit guarded before and holding myself at arm's length because I was self-censoring all the time and not talking about the things I really cared about, or even just little things I thought about stuff, just because I thought I would give myself away in some ridiculous fashion that I might be trans. It turns out the best thing to do is just tell people you are trans, and then people don't actually mind. Yay, seems so easy now, but it was very, very scary. So to anyone who's thinking about coming out, it seems like the scariest thing in the world, and your mileage may vary. Some people may or may not react well to it, but it's certainly better to have told people than to have held it as a secret. I wouldn't recommend that at all. It's very damaging over time and grinds you down into a husk of yourself. But that person is still in there. And what I did find about going back to New Zealand as well was I'd gotten used to my life here in London quite considerably. I'd sort of in a bit of a conveyor belt of jobs, job after job, work, stop work, stop work. My transition has been a real joy as far as a different shade of life around it. But I went back to New Zealand and caught up with great old friends, saw a few places that I really love, went for runs in the trees and things, which was wonderful. But I had a real realization while I was there that what I would often do is go back and visit the places I had missed and the things I'd done before. And they were great experiences that I was kind of repeating, but I wasn't making new memories and finding new experiences, which is a bit of a shame. And so that just kind of made me wake up a little bit and think, oh God, it's very easy to fall into the patterns of going back and kind of revisiting the same places because they were great, again and again and again, and not doing new things and not kind of growing in my life. And so that really helped. I then jumped in a car, got out of Auckland and went up north to a place I'd been before, but in a different circumstance. I went and stayed in an Airbnb in like a hut on a hillside, and just got away from everything and just sat. I got some fish and chips. I sat on the deck, and I ate my fish and chips, and I drank a beer, and I just looked out at the sea. That's all I really did that evening. And then I went to bed and had probably the nicest sleep I've ever had in my life, with the sound of the waves and wind and the door open, and then there's moonlight on the sea as in Ahipara, which is at the bottom of 90 Mile Beach, which is the very long beach at the top of the North Island in New Zealand in the far north. And that was a really good thing. I made a new memory for myself that I really will cherish. And I went and visited friends at their house near Thames, in the Coromandel Peninsula, and they built this beautiful kind of, you could say it's like a shed on a hillside, but it's far more incredible than that. And their 2 dogs, and had a lovely dinner, and just made new memories there with them. 2 people very dear to me and very close to my own experience. We had a great chat and had a swim in a river. I had a lot of dog hugs, which I loved, and just also saw their wonderful house, which really reignited something else for me in my trip to New Zealand. Is that I was always a real architectural buff. You know, I've collected architectural books for years, and I've sketched buildings, and if I see an empty site, I usually think about what the building I would put on it would be. And I've always had this dream of building a house for myself one day, and I'm getting on now. You know, partly being trans has put a lot of my life on hold. Up to this point, I've been doing my career and things, but I never was moving forward and building a future for myself, a nest for myself in some ways. And what it reminded me of was going back to New Zealand and seeing some of these wonderful houses and homes that my friends live in, and shacks and beach houses that are just little huts and things, that I love that stuff, and I really put it aside. And now I feel like I'm in a place where I'm so excited about the future. Now I need to choose what that future might be and give myself a project outside of transitioning. So my next big thing to do once I transition is to save for a flat, because I don't own this one. This is a rental that I share with other people, and it's really fantastic. I've been here for 9 years because it's you can see it's quite a big room and a very large house. So I have a back garden, and we have a huge bathroom. All those things are really wonderful. But, you know, it's not my own space. It's not designed to fit me perfectly. So I'm going to try and work to getting my own flat, and then eventually I will try and build a house. Someone just rang a doorbell downstairs, and I'm going to maybe ignore it, or I keep rolling and try and get it and come back. That was exciting. There's kind of no one there. Focus. I'm a bit out of breath. It's 4 floors. It's one thing I have noticed with HRT. I'm a little more out of breath when I go up the stairs. Not having as much muscle and being more of a weakling. So yeah, eventually I'd like to build my own house, and I have now plans to do that. And, you know, financially I need to get past my transition, and it's reasonably expensive to do some of the things I've been doing. But, you know, it's a long-term goal now. It's something I can spend the next 10 years working toward. I'd hope to do it before that, but, you know, that might take that long, and that's okay. I just want to have a nice goal to work toward. Still out of breath, excuse me. So lastly, just to kind of sum up, that's a longer goal I have for myself. But this year, my big goal is I have one job I'm about to start in March for 3 months, just filming a new TV series, and the beginning of a new TV series. And then I hopefully will get another well-paying job for the rest of the year. And that's basically going to allow me to save for my GRS surgery. The surgery itself is not incredibly expensive. It's expensive, but it's not debilitatingly expensive. I can afford it. But the time off work is expensive. I find that the more difficult thing, because, you know, really I'd like to give myself a 4-month period for the surgery, the first bit of recovery. It's really 12 weeks after the surgery that you're meant to have as a full recovery for this particular one as well. But I would like to have another month after that before I went back to start another job, because my job's quite physical. I have to be running around jumping over things with cameras and stuff like that. And I'd like to just make sure I'm in a really good position to be very comfortable with myself, with the new configuration of my body as it would be. And I'd also like to, if I can afford it, to go back to New Zealand again at that point before I go back to work, so that I can enjoy some summer with a slightly different body in mind, and be able to go to the beach and things like that, which would be really nice, because I'm cool going swimming in a swimsuit at the moment, but there are some extra bits there you just kind of would rather that weren't there, and it would be nice to sort that out. Okay, so yeah, it's been an interesting time. It's been a year. I'm very happy with the results so far of both my facial surgery and HRT, to say the least. Long may it continue. I think I'll probably be on estrogen for as long as I'm allowed to take it, and as long as possible, really, because I think that is one way of keeping myself vital and healthy as well. And my testosterone blocker I will take until I have no reason to, or nothing physically to make testosterone anymore, which will hopefully be in October at the end of this year. Very, very happy in general. Life's pretty good. It's still a lot of work. I still have my down days. But I'm extremely happy with how it's gone so far for this year, and I can't wait for the next year and beyond, which is a nice change from where I was before I transitioned, where I didn't really see what the future held for me anymore. So yeah, fantastic. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again next time.